Hey guys, Magnus here, bringing you yet another video, and this one we're going to be doing my sort of big master list, so I don't want to babble on too long, but I'm going to be doing the whole ranked costumes from 2016, so these are all the costumes from 2016. I'm discluding any that carried over from the Christmas event, like I have with the characters. I just don't really want to include them, because it's kind of like, that was an event from the previous year, so it's anything from, basically, that kind of thing, and now this winter event wrapped up kind of early, so, I'm glad, because that means that the next year when I do this list again, I can focus on just the stuff and I don't need to leave out anything that carried over. But anyway, let's carry on. So the worst one anyway. We're gonna go from worst to best. I don't say best for worst, but we're gonna say from worst to best. So the worst one on the list is honestly Treehugger Lisa. Now this one was decided by the public vote also that it was the worst costume, and I 100% agree. I just think personally I think the costume was pretty crappy because of course they gave it to us in the Treehugger event, and or the world's largest redwood event even, and it just really was a crappy prize, and it's not like it's worth it. The tasks and stuff and the quest line is very boring, it's very plain, and overall I think it was a very crappy prize for a very crappy event. The next one is Pin Collector Lisa. So I don't like this costume either. I hate this costume just as much as I hate Treehugger Lisa. Now Pin Collector Lisa, of course, it was given in the Springfield Games. After you did the quests, obviously you won it. Actually I'm not too sure, but the actual costume, I'm not sure how you got it, but yeah, the costume for me, I just felt it was pretty crappy. Again, I thought it was a very bad prize in terms of how it looks. It's not very different to how Lisa looks actually in her default costume. It's just with a hat on and a little waistcoat with some pink pins on there, and honestly I just don't like it. It's just pretty damn crappy, and I'm never going to look at that again. Next we have Magic Act Millhouse. So again, this is another one I don't like. Of course, it was added in the casino event, and we got basically it's Millhouse in a magician hat with magician cloak and stuff like that. I'm gonna try and stop saying that's my New Year's resolution. But it's just, to me it's just pretty bad. It just looks pretty crappy, and I don't like it. Very plain, and again boring quest lines and stuff like that. Next up is Lizard Queen Lisa. Same sort of scenario. Very crappy quest line. It doesn't look very nice. I keep saying it now. But another thing which I hate about it is the fact that it was added in level 60, which is, of course, as everyone knows. That's not that's everyone knows. As everyone knows, I hate that event. I hate that level. It was an awful level. It was terrible, and they didn't conclude it with a bang, which really annoyed me. But this character really is just crappy. Of course, it's Lisa Intoxicated. It came with Duff Gardens, and it came with the worst building, so it has to be one of the worst costumes, right? And there you go. So next up, we have Casino Boss Bart. Same sort of scenario, and I know it's the same reason, and I'm repeating myself, but it's a very crappy costume, bad quest lines, bad everything about it, and the look, it's okay, it looks pretty classy, but I just have to put it here anyway. Sorry. Next up is actually another Bart costume, and this is the Kid with No Name. So this was added in the Wild West update. Again, I felt like this was one they just sort of thrown in my opinion. I thought it was just thrown in. It was very boring again. I like how they tried to do like this whole sort of outlaw Bart thing, but I don't really think it was that amazing. I thought it was pretty crappy, and bad quests and very boring in my opinion. Then we have Raven Crow Never Smiles. Again, this is another one I dislike. Of course, this was added in the winter event, which you would have thought it would have been in the Treehouse Horror event, because it's kind of thing, witchcraft sort of thing. Gothic sort of thing, which, the Gothic stuff is Halloween, let's be honest. But Ravencrow Never Smiles. Pretty bad. I personally thought it was pretty cruddy. Pretty bad costume. It was kind of cool that they added voice for it, I guess, but it just, to me, especially that it was in the winter update, that reinforced how bad it was to me. I just thought it wasn't very good, and again, very irrelevant, and I felt it was just boring. Next up is actually all 4 of the fireman costumes. I've just put all 4 of them. I'm going to group them as one. I mean, they are cool, and I felt they were necessary for the Crook and Ladder event. And if you're going to add the fire station, I feel like they are. Again, yes, I do feel they are necessary. But that doesn't make them good. Just because they're necessary doesn't mean that they're good costumes. They could have been a bit better, I feel like. They could have made them a bit more fun. I don't know how, but I just feel like there could have been something they could have done, surely. You know, maybe done... more like quest lines and stuff, and maybe like something more interesting. But the tasks and stuff are okay, I guess. But mainly I just don't like it because it's you know 4 costumes over a repeat. I don't know. I just think they're not really that special, and I just think they're pretty crappy, and everything above it I think is better, to be honest. Sorry, I've had to put the final costumes there, but I'm not sorry at the same time. Anyway, next up is Hostess Miss Springfield. Again, another casino update one. It's pretty cool. I like it when they add costumes for characters that aren't as big. You know, not our big sort of our big main runners like you know the Simpsons family and Mo and those kind of characters. You know, Ned. I keep saying you know. I'm trying not to say it, but it's just a habit. Force a habit. Yeah, Hostess Miss Springfield. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so bad, but I just think, again, it comes down to it. All the other ones above it are better, are funner to look at. Weird reason, but there you go. And possibly the fact that she is a smaller character, although I like it when they add costumes to smaller characters, it makes them sort of less relevant in a way, because I don't really care about the smaller characters. Anyway, moving on, we have Outlaw Snake. Outlaw Snake, again, is another one of these kind of ones. I felt like the Kid with No Name was one thing, but this one is another. This is blatantly an outlaw. No, I just think it was pretty crappy as well. Not really a relevant one. I feel the whole Wild West update was very... it didn't really add very many exciting characters. And that was the sort of problem with it. Outlaw Snake was just a crappy costume, really, let's be honest. Pretty crappy tasks as well. Next up is Longshot Skinner, same sort of thing, Wild West one. I don't really like the Wild West costumes that all too much, a lot of them were pretty crappy. I just felt like Longshot Skinner was another really awful one, just very boring, very bland, and not very exciting. Moving on, we have Satyr Willie, or Satyr Willie. This is the actual one that was added on the Treehouse of Horror, with him with horns, obviously. I don't know, that's how you say it, I'm pretty sure there's another way, whatever. But yeah, I just felt it was pretty crappy as well. And another one I don't like, I just felt like the paganistic thing for me was just a bit weird, and the whole quest with Willie for me were a bit weird. I just felt it was off, and it wasn't very exciting, it wasn't very fun, and I just thought it was pretty cruddy. Next up is Cowboy Homer. Again, similar to the thing, I just think this was a little bit better because it was Homer, and I felt that some of the tasks were pretty funny, and the quest line was decent at least. It wasn't amazing, but it was okay. So I thought this wasn't a terrible one, but still pretty crappy, so I kind of put it here. So yeah. Next up is Bouncing Battle Baby. Again, this is another one, I kind of like it. I like the look at it, and I like the fact that it bounces around and stuff, and that's pretty funny, and that's what I think is cool. But again, the quest line and the tasks are just goddamn boring. The costume itself is pretty cool to look at. I like it. I like it when Maggie gets costumes. It's pretty cool, but I just felt that this one was pretty bad. Next up is Reclusive Mr. Burns. I thought this one was kind of fun. It was a fun little one, obviously, Mr. Burns in his kind of isolated state, and it was a pretty funny one, and obviously it's funny to see him all mentally destroyed, basically, and he looking pretty crappy. I just thought it was a fun costume. It gave us a whole different look at Mr. Burns. You know, it made him look completely different, and it was some interesting tasks. And I'm gonna be honest, this is the cutoff. The Reclusive Mr. Burns, all the costumes above it, I think, are not so bad. They're not amazing, but they're not so bad. The top 3 are the best, but the rest above it are pretty cool costumes. The ones I don't think are terrible. But so anyway, let's get into our good. So these are all good. The next one is Prairie Maggie. I don't even know. I don't know how you say that. I'm an idiot. Yeah, but of course this is the another Wild West costume that Maggie got. I thought this was kind of cool. It was kind of cute. You know, Maggie in a looking like a badass. I thought it was pretty cool. The actual look of it. The quests, I mean, they're not amazing. The tasks aren't amazing, but they're okay. I don't think they're terrible. They could be a little bit better, or they could just get rid of this costume altogether, to be honest. But I don't think it's that bad, and I think it's an okay little costume to have. Next up is filmmaker Lisa. Now, a lot of people hate this costume. I don't. I think it was a really good costume. I think it was a really good way. It really sort of set sail the Treehouse of Horror event, which I think is probably one of the better ones we've got in a while. I just felt it set sail. It made it basically. It made Film Lisa the captain, and she sailed the ship pretty well, if you know what I mean. I just think filmmaker Lisa, I know the costume itself isn't that interesting, it doesn't look that interesting. I thought the tasks, I mean, to be honest, the tasks were pretty crappy. The quest line, I thought was amazing. I thought the quest line was really good. I liked how they you know, some people, Apperson, said that it's like throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what's stuck, but I more like to think that it's a soup with some exotic ingredients. I don't know what I'm chatting. But I thought it was pretty cool, the Treehouse of Horror event. And I thought filmmaker Lisa made it work. Next up is Astronaut Barney. I don't know, I like the look of it. I'm going to be honest, I don't like the task and I don't like the quest. I just think the look of it's pretty cool. Sue me, I don't know, that's the only reason I got. And that's why I put it a little bit above filmmaker Lisa. I just think the look of it looks cool. Maybe the quest line is a little bit more important. But at the end of the day, the quest line becomes pretty useless after the event. So, oh well, I put Astronaut Barney there. Maybe I should have put him lower. Oh well, he's there now. The next up is Star Snowsuit Maggie. So I just think this thing's cute as hell. I'm sorry, it's just damn cute. I don't care about the quests and the task line. It's just damn cute looking over there. Also, this costume has been seen multiple times. A couple of Christmas episodes we've seen this costume with Maggie. Obviously, the very first Christmas episode is when we saw Maggie first with this, but we've seen her a couple of times before that as well. After that as well with this costume, it's quite a recurring Christmas costume for Maggie, and that's why I'm putting it there. I think it was kind of nice that we got this costume, because it's one that we've seen a few times, but like Sunday Morning Home in a way. I think we've seen that sort of attire that he wears a few times as well. You know, it's a costume that we see regularly, and that's why I think costumes, what makes a good costume, if we actually do see it regularly, or if its appearance is quite notable. So that's why I've put that one there. Next up is, I'm going to contradict myself with this next one, Crazy Iguana Lady, which is the Aztec costume for the Crazy Cat Lady. And I'm contradicting myself a little bit from what I just said. You know, a good costume that everyone recognises and is cute, but this one isn't cute. This is quite ugly. Not being mean to the Crazy Cat Lady, but it's quite, you know, it's a parody on the Crazy Cat Lady, and I think it's a funny, nice little parody. And instead of making its own sort of character, they followed with the Aztec tradition. Now, I like the Aztec costumes, and I like how they haven't just thrown them at us at once. In some ways, I would think that would be a bad way. For some events, it would be kind of bad if they, like the Pin Pals, for example. Like, that's something you kind of have to add together. But the Aztecs, I felt like they made it work. The Aztec costumes are pretty cool, and you know, I think this one is pretty cool. I think the fact that she throws iguanas is quite funny. That I think the quests in it are really funny. The tasks even. The quest line wasn't amazing, but hey ho, I think it was a pretty cool costume, and it was a nice one to actually throw in for the Treehouse of Horror when, you know, she was battling the giant monsters and stuff. You know, throwing iguanas, and I just think it was a funny damn costume. Next up is Cyborg Snake. So yeah, this one looks cool. I'm gonna be honest. This is the only reason I like this is it looks cool. You know, him in a robot sort of way, looking pretty badass. Obviously, I know it was from a little gag though. That's the only problem I have with it. It is a costume from just like a gag essentially, where in one of the future episodes we see that he's robbing our poo in his cyborg state. So it is kind of like one of those things where the costume wasn't that amazing, but they developed it and they made it work, I think, and it was pretty cool. So I'm going to put it on the list. Next up is Wes Dubner. This is the one for Bob. This is a costume for Bob, which is kind of cool. And I like it when they had costumes for Bob. I feel like they sort of forgot about Bob after the Treehugger update, but they brought him back into the Wild West update and they made him a little bit more relevant. And that's what I like. So Wes Dubner obviously is this kind of like West. This is the sort of life he took up when he became this sort of Western barbecue ranch master guy who runs this barbecue thing. And I thought they made it work. I thought they made it pretty cool. The way that they developed that kind of story into the Wild West was pretty fun, and I think the costume overall is pretty damn cool because it makes Bob look completely different. You know, it really does look like a good disguise, doesn't it? And yeah, I just think it was pretty cool. Next up, and this is a controversial one for some of my subscribers, Deep Space Homer. Some people absolutely adore this costume. I think Nuclear Videos HD, I think he voted this up the most, so I think this is his favourite costume of 2016. But don't quote me on that, I'm not too sure. But I'm pretty sure this is the one he voted up the most. But everyone, I don't know why everyone loves it that. I mean, I think it is. It's definitely the 4th best, which is what it, well, technically the 5th best. It is the 5th best, but I don't think it is the best. I think it's kind of cool. And in terms of the look, it's cool. I just felt the questline was pretty damn boring in the whole Deep Space Homer. So I thought the questline was kind of cool, but it was kind of boring. But the costume itself does look really aesthetically pleasing. I've got to say that. It's kind of cool to see. Oh, I keep saying cool. My New Year's resolution also say, honestly, and cool. I need to find some different words. Someone commented on the channel and made me triggered. No, but yeah. It's just cool. No. Yeah, the Deep Space Homer is a really nice costume, and I do like it. But I just feel the tasks in the quest line make it kind of just knock it down a little bit than maybe what it should be. Maybe them. To be honest with you, maybe not even not. I don't think the look really is that amazing. I think the other ones above it look better, basically. Anyway, moving on. This is number 3. So number 3 goes to New God, Mr. Burns. So this is the only good thing that came out of Winter 2016, I think. This and the Parson are the only good things that came out of 2016. The Winter 2016, sorry. The New God, Mr. Burns was a kind of... it's a cool costume, okay? It comes from the Movement Terror episode when Mr. Burns basically imagines himself as a god and imagines himself as with followers, and he basically imagines himself this big brute like thing, and that's what you see in the costume. And I think it looks damn cool. So I'm gonna have to put it at number 3. I think it is pretty damn cool. Cool. I keep saying cool. Oh, it looks badass. There you go. That's another word. It looks damn badass. So yeah, New God, Mr. Burns. Number 2, I have put Werewolf Flanders. Now this got the popular vote, and I think I agree to some degree, but again, it looks scary. It completely transforms Flanders into the werewolf. It's from one of my most favourite Treehouse of Horrors. So there's a number of reasons I like this costume, and I do think it was relevant. And I'm glad they added it in Halloween, and they didn't wait. I think they should have probably added it earlier because it's quite an old Halloween episode. But I just think it is damn cool. It's that words. It's just damn, yeah. I don't care anymore. It's just cool, alright. Yeah. Werewolf Flanders. And finally, we have our number 1 spot, our best costume of this year, or costumes. But can we have that drum roll? I have put Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl. I don't care. I've put them down as the best. And to be honest with you, I think they're the best. What can I say? So, they come from, again, another Treehouse of Horror episode, but they incorporated into the Superheroes event. And I like that. I like the fact they incorporated into the Superheroes event. It's pretty cool. A lot of people hate these costumes. I just think they're both really cool. Especially Stretch Dude. Stretch Dude is the cooler one. Clobber Girl, not so much. But I say the Clobber Girl costume is probably Lisa's best costume at this point. And Stretch Dude is definitely Bart's second best costume. And there's another one that's above it that came out last year. The one good thing that came out of Clash of Clunes, that is. No, but they are great. There's some cool costumes. And now, there's a number of reasons. First of all, the tasks are funny as hell. They've got plenty of animations there. Really cool. The quest line, I thought, wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible. So, I put it there. The episode it comes from, the Treehouse of Horror episode, one of my favourite ones. Maybe that's because I'm biased. The whole, the thing with the collector and stuff, I just think was awesome, and I like the fact they added them in Superheroes 2, and they added them sort of following on to that, and that was really cool as well. But overall, the costumes are just great. I think both of them are really cool. As a duo, are really badass. There you go, that's my new word. They they are a combination, I feel like, and you can't really, I feel like it's kind of hard to judge one without judging the other, so I just put them together. I say they're both just as cool, and there you go. So anyway guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed this master list of my ranked costume. I enjoy ranking costumes. I think it's better than doing a top 10, top 5, because I feel like top 10, worst, top 10 best. I don't know, I just feel like there isn't enough Well, there is enough. I don't know. I just like doing ranked. Who cares? I want to change it up. I'm sick of top 10s. So there you go. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.